On Monday, December 24th, 1974, an event unfolded that would become one of the most haunting mysteries in Fort Worth's history. 3 young girls left their homes for a late Christmas shopping trip, but never returned to their families. This chilling case, now known as the Fort Worth Missing Trio incident, has perplexed investigators and intrigued mystery enthusiasts for nearly 5 decades. Today we delve into this enduring enigma, seeking to answer the question that has remained unresolved for almost 50 years. What most likely happened to the Fort Worth Missing Trio? It is the morning of December 23rd, 1974, and 17-year-old Mary Rachel Trelica has just received a call from her recently married husband. She learns that her 2-year-old stepson will be spending Christmas at their home. Excited and eager to prepare for the visit, Rachel decides to head out for some last-minute Christmas shopping at the local mall. Needing someone to go shopping with her, she reaches out to her longtime friend, 14-year-old Lisa Renee Wilson. Renee, who was supposed to attend a Christmas party with her new boyfriend by 4 p.m. that day, agreed to go with Rachel as long as they returned well before 4 p.m. so she could have enough time to prepare for the party. Rachel agrees, so Renee decides to go to her boyfriend's place and inform him about the slight change in plans while Rachel gets ready. During the conversation between Renee and her boyfriend Terry, Julianne Mosley, Terry's 9-year-old sister, overhears the conversation and decides she'd like to go shopping as well. She eagerly asks if she can come along, but is told she'll need her mother's permission first. Julie calls her mother, Rayanne Mosley, and after some pleading, her mother agrees, on the condition that she must be back home by 6 p.m. Since Renee planned to return before 4 p.m. anyway, Julie had permission to go. So when Rachel arrived around noon to pick up Renee in her husband's car, Julie joined the two, and the trio headed out together. From the Mosley residence, the trio first stopped at a surplus store in Fort Worth, where Renee picked up some layaway items she had waiting. Afterwards, they headed to the Seminary South Shopping Center, where several witnesses saw them entering the mall. When the trio failed to return in time for a Christmas party Renee was supposed to attend with Terry, their families grew concerned. The Mosleys contacted the families of the other girls, and together they went to the Seminary South Shopping Center to search for them. Arriving around 6 p.m., they scoured the entire mall but found no trace of the girls. The family searched for the trio throughout the rest of the evening and spent the night at the mall in case the trio returned. The next day, Rachel's husband, Tommy Trelica, received a letter that claimed to be from Rachel. The letter read, "I know I'm going to catch it, but we had to get away. We're going to Houston. See you in about a week. The car is in Sears' upper lot. Love, Rachel." Having received this clue, the families headed to the lot where they indeed found the car. Inside it were items purchased from the mall, indicating that the girls had returned to the car earlier that afternoon before their disappearance. Despite the letter, the families remained unconvinced that the girls had truly run away. Several details led them to this conclusion. First, the letter was addressed to Thomas A. Trelica instead of the more personal Tommy, which Rachel typically used when referring to her husband. Additionally, Rachel's name on the envelope the letter came in appeared to have been initially misspelled. The L was first written as an E and then corrected to look more like an L. Finally, the postmark on the envelope raised further suspicion. It lacked a city designation and included only a blurred zip code, which appeared to be 76083. Interestingly, the number 3 seemed to be either backward, as if applied with a hand-loaded stamp, or a partially formed 8. Other factors raised even more doubts as well. If Rachel had truly run away, what were the chances that Renee and Lisa would have joined her? Renee had been eagerly anticipating attending the Christmas party with Terry, who had given her a promise ring earlier. It seemed unlikely that she would have left all of that behind without even a word, especially considering she had informed Terry before leaving for the mall. As for Lisa, a 9-year-old, she would have had little motivation to venture far from home, particularly without her family's knowledge or permission. These considerations made the possibility of the girls running away seem increasingly implausible. All of these factors only deepened the family's doubts about the authenticity of the letter. With still no sign of the girls, they contacted the police. The case was promptly assigned to the Youth Division of the Fort Worth Police Department's FWPD Missing Persons Bureau for investigation. In the meantime, the families began distributing missing person flyers throughout the state and reaching out to newspapers across the country. Soon, tips started coming in and witnesses began stepping forward, but despite these efforts, there was still no breakthrough. With no significant progress from the police investigation and their efforts yielding little, the families decided to hire a private investigator. The investigation continued until 1979, when the private investigator, John Swaim, died from a drug overdose. Before his death, Swaim ordered all files related to the case to be destroyed, leaving the families with even fewer answers and raising more questions about the course of the investigation. Following Swaim's death, the police investigation continued, leading investigators and the families of the victims down many roads and dead ends. Each time, however, the result was the same: no answers, no closure, and no sign of the missing girls. The case remains shrouded in mystery to this day, with every lead eventually fading into uncertainty. Being a case that is nearly 5 decades old, countless theories have emerged about what might have happened to the Fort Worth missing trio. Let's delve into some of the most prominent and debated possibilities. Theory number 1, the runaway theory. This is one of the most popular theories, and it is not hard to see why. Rachel's husband received a letter that claimed just that. But seeing the issues with this theory, which have already been mentioned, this is probably the least likely reason for the disappearance. Theory number 2, the sister did it. Before Rachel and Tommy got married, Tommy had been in a relationship with Rachel's sister, Deborah. This history has led some to speculate that Deborah may have been involved in the trio's disappearance. Supporters of this theory point to several details as clues to this being the case. The night before the disappearance, Deborah had been staying with Rachel and Tommy, and the three spent the evening drinking and playing games late into the night. When Rachel received a call about her stepson visiting for Christmas, she initially planned to go shopping with Deborah. However, Deborah claimed she was too exhausted from the previous night and needed to rest. This decision not only left Rachel to go shopping with Renee and Julie instead, but it also meant that Deborah knew Rachel's plans and had ample time to orchestrate an ambush if she was so inclined. These circumstances have fueled ongoing speculation about Deborah's potential involvement. Just like the runaway theory, however, there are notable flaws in this theory. First, witnesses reported seeing the Fort Worth trio at the mall on the day of their disappearance, but no one claimed to have seen Deborah at the scene before the families arrived. This absence of eyewitness accounts linking Deborah to the location weakens the case against her. Additionally, there's the matter of the letter. If Deborah had been capable of orchestrating such a complex plan to make her sister and the two other girls disappear while effectively covering her tracks, it seems unlikely that she would have made such an obvious misstep with the letter, such as using Tommy's legal name instead of the more informal option and the misspelling of Rachel's name. Theory number 3, a random kidnapping. During Swaim's investigation, he uncovered a series of unusual calls made in the area around Rachel's home. Digging deeper, he discovered that a 28-year-old man who worked at a store where Rachel had once applied for a job had been using his position to obtain the personal information of young women, including their references from job applications. Alarmingly, this man also lived in the same neighborhood as Rachel, raising the possibility that he had been stalking some of these women, possibly including Rachel, both over the phone and in person. And with all 3 of the victims being female, This seemed to make sense. Upon further investigation, however, it was discovered that the suspect had moved out of the neighborhood a while before Rachel married, and with little proof that he actually physically stalked Rachel or even called her for that matter, the lead wasn't pursued much further. So what most likely happened? An organized crime. Several details from the investigation suggest that the trio may have been abducted by an organized group. One intriguing account came from a witness who claimed to be an acquaintance of Rachel. He reported seeing the trio at the mall and even briefly speaking with Rachel. According to his statement, the girls were accompanied by another individual. However, he did not mention noticing anything that indicated they were being held against their will. Around the same period, however, a woman came forward claiming she had seen the trio being forced into a yellow pickup truck near the mall. Years later, another witness would share a similar but slightly different account. He recalled seeing a girl being forced into a van. When he attempted to intervene, the man responsible brushed him off, insisting it was a family issue and warning him to stay out of it. These reports, though differing in details, added weight to the theory that the girls may have been abducted by someone with a calculated plan to avoid suspicion. A few things point to this being an organized crime rather than a crime of passion, however. First, the level of coordination required to abduct 3 individuals from a crowded shopping mall without raising immediate alarm suggests a premeditated plan. The presence of multiple witnesses who saw the trio in different circumstances, with varying accounts of vehicles and individuals involved, could indicate that more than one person was part of the operation, potentially as lookouts or accomplices. Second, the choice of a busy public space like the mall as the setting for the crime suggests a calculated risk. An organized group would be more likely to orchestrate such an abduction, relying on distraction and swift action to avoid detection. Additionally, the subsequent lack of clear evidence or witnesses able to provide detailed, actionable leads implies that the perpetrators may have carefully planned their escape and covered their tracks. Lastly, the mysterious letter sent to Tommy Trelica raises questions about the motives and methods of the crime. While its authenticity is debated, if it were connected to the abduction, the letter could be an attempt to mislead investigators or buy time for the group to distance themselves from the crime. These elements combined suggest that the disappearance is more likely the work of an organized, methodical group rather than a spur-of-the-moment act by an individual. Unfortunately, the mystery of the Fort Worth missing trio remains unsolved, despite nearly 50 years of investigation. The families of the victims continue their search, though many believe it is now more about finding closure than holding out hope for a resolution. The unanswered questions and lack of concrete evidence have left a lasting wound, not just for the families, but for the Fort Worth community as a whole. Each passing year brings new theories and speculation, but the truth remains frustratingly out of reach, a haunting reminder of a case that refuses to be forgotten and continues to remain unsolved.